Sometimes dead is better.
All right, everyone. Welcome to Give Me Back My Horror Movies, the podcast. I am Nate, and I almost forgot to even do the introduction because I was reading on my phone. Classic podcast move. But with me, as always, is Charlie. Say hello, Charlie, and save me.
I will save you, Nate. But it is very true. He does like drift off and look at his phone and miss his cues. And as far as editing goes, you would never know until he references it and doesn't allow me to
It's
edit it
super
out.
early in the morning. I was
Yeah.
out late.
This is another one of our early morning recordings, but it's fine.
We're getting through it.
We are. We're big boys. We can handle this.
And what better way to start out a morning than with an entire family getting slaughtered?
Jesus Christ, dude.
Yeah,
why?
you know what? We didn't
Why?
watch this in the morning because that would have been rough, but we got to talk about it in the morning, which is like, yeah, I just woke up, got out of bed, and now I get to talk about depravity. Is that the word I'm looking for?
Yeah, that works.
Yeah.
You nailed it. That's a good one. Yeah, so Nate, we did our list for November because we are technically taking November off.
Yes.
So we decided to, instead of not having anything out, I'm like, well, let's just double up recordings and we'll can a few and let's make a list of them. Just whatever we want. No theme, no nothing.
Charge right out the gate. I was like, Hills Have Eyes.
This
remake.
This guy. Yeah. I was like, okay, original. I kind of expected that, but Nate's like, no, remake. And I'm like, wow, bro.
Well, it ties into with kind of a little bit what we talked about in the RoboCop episode of me taking a month off to kind of give my mental health like a little bit of breathing room.
Oh yeah.
And I've been like same thing with RoboCop. I wanted severe action. And now on the horror end, I wanted something that I remembered that was just twisted, gross, and not fun. And a lot of that just has to deal with, all right, if we're going to take this month off, I want to be able to navigate this and try to watch some extreme stuff at the same time, I guess. I don't know. In my head, it works.
It makes sense. I think it was just when you first brought it up. This movie is very polarizing to me.
This was the movie because it came out when I was in high school, like junior or senior year, because 2006. I didn't get to see this in theaters despite wanting to, but this was the movie that all the non-horror kids were going to see.
Right.
Because they all kept talking about how gross it was. That one of them, I remember specifically, like his girlfriend made them walk out of the theater. So being the horror guy who just couldn't get a ride because I didn't have a license to the theater to see it, all this did was amp up my expectations more of like, well, what's going on? Like, because I just remember like each weekend more kids were coming back talking about how messed up this movie was. And there's just me who I couldn't find anyone to like take me to go see it.
Yeah. So when normally we watch these movies, I watch it like the night before with Jackie, so I'm fresh for it. And when I told her we were doing some early recording, so I was going to be watching these in weird orders, she's like, "Well, what one are you getting ready to watch this week?" And I said, "The Hills Have Eyes." And she just stares at me and she goes, "The newer one?" I was like, "Yeah, the one in 2006." She goes, "I refuse to watch that." Now,
Fair.
she's seen it. She saw it when it came out when I did. And yeah, 2006, that's also when Anthony was born.
Rough.
Yeah.
Very rough then. Your first one being born, your first child.
Yeah,
and the
and
themes of
those
this movie.
that have seen this movie, I'll go ahead and say, I watched this when it came out. I actually bought it when it came out. Um, I watched it twice. I watched it one time, didn't touch it again for like, I don't know, 3 or 4 years, and went, I'm going to watch this one more time. And I watched it, and I threw the DVD away. After I did that, I was like, you know what? I don't ever see me watching this movie for enjoyment purposes
Yeah,
ever again.
and it's funny because we kind of mirror one another. I
Mm.
saw it when it finally came out on DVD. Me and a buddy in high school rented it, watched it. I remember being extremely frustrated with the movie until the final act, the redemption
Yes.
arc. But I only saw it that time. Maybe like 5 years ago at buybacks, I saw it for $4. I was like, man, I haven't seen that in forever, and I picked it up because I have the original. I was like, if I have the original, I should have the remake as well on my
Yeah.
shelf.
Yeah.
And I didn't touch it. I was like, I don't really. I like I. It's one of those movies like certain scenes just are ingrained in your head. And I was like, I'm not gonna touch it. But with dealing with the whole mental health struggles, like I kind of want to go back to it and see that it could be worse. I guess
I
that well, at least I'm not going through this, so I'm doing all right.
Well, it's that, but it's also as time goes by, our perspective of these movies change, especially in, like almost like 10-year gaps,
This
10-year
was extreme for
jumps.
2006, but then you think about what's all came out between 2006 and 2022 and how much
Right.
we have tried to up the ante. I have seen far worse films now,
I have. This one still
This one,
really grates at me a little bit, but I'll
a
tell you,
lot of that has to deal with, I think, the location setting.
it's the location setting and the subject matter. But tell you what, I've got a trailer now. All the trailers I found for this were almost 3 minutes long, and I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not doing
Nah,
that.
we're not
You
gonna make
know,
people
it's
suffer through that. We just do a
so
TV spot.
I found the TV spot. So let me play the TV spot, and then we will do the back of the DVD, and then we'll continue our conversation on that.
In 1953, one family survived a nuclear explosion. The government abandoned them. The testing changed them. But what didn't kill them only made them deadlier.
So, would you play with us?
The Hills Have Eyes. Theaters March 10th. Rated R.
So there's trailer. It gets the point across. I mean, good lord, that was probably all they could play on television for a trailer for this movie. Um, i- we're gonna read the back of the DVD player, but I want to get back into the effect this movie had on me originally versus now. I guess we can say.
Oh yeah,
So
now that it's been years later.
exactly. So Nate, you actually have it in your hand because you have yours. Mine's in the trash many, many years ago. So it's in maybe some nice trash man found it for our trash reviews. So we'll see how that ties up. So are you ready?
I'm ready. The shock-a-minute chiller that scared the hill out of an audience around the world takes terror to the next level in this unrated special edition, including additional footage not shown in theaters and DVD special features to die for. I shouldn't have even read that part. A cross-country road trip takes a deadly turn in this spine-tingling remake of Wes Craven's classic horror masterpiece about a stranded family that falls prey to a freakish clan of bloodthirsty mutants in the New Mexico desert. Packed with gut-wrenching gore, ghastly makeup effects, and heart-stopping suspense, The Hills Have Eyes will keep you on the edge of your seat and your sanity.
Gut wrenching. That's a phrase that gets tossed around a lot in the horror genre.
Kind of gets watered down because it
It
gets used so
does.
much. And it's just like, well,
And
is anything gut wrenching if everything is gut wrenching, you know?
to be honest, we've had this conversation before where I feel like we're just completely desensitized. Like, there's no movie that scares me. I hate clowns, but it's not like I'm terrified and they're hiding in my closet. I will just punch one if I see it on the street. But movies don't scare me. You can get a good jump scare out of me. You can startle me, but that's different. Um, Gut wrenching, though, is probably the best description for this movie, and truly one of the few that I will purposely watch. There are a handful of movies out there that I have zero interest in watching, and I will never watch. I will never watch a Serbian film. I will never
No,
watch.
I have no desire to
Um,
ever check that one out. Is it
I
Salo, 120 Days of Sodom?
Yeah.
I don't need to
So
watch that.
th-
You know,
those
people be like, "Oh, he's
movies.
not a real horror guy." It's like, nah, I don't care.
No.
Buddy and I were talking about the new Jeffrey Dahmer show on Netflix
Yeah,
that's been making its
Jackie's been
round.
watching it. Yeah.
And he's like, "Have you watched it yet?" I was like, "Honestly, dude, no. Like the older I've gotten, like real life human on human violence doesn't like those are actual victims. I just don't want to mess around with it. Like it's just
Um,
not for me."
it didn't bother me so much as far as that goes, but I think my issue I had with the Dahmer stuff is it's been done.
With
It's
Jeremy
been done.
Renner,
Jer- Jer-
Hawkeye.
that is actually to me the best version if you want to watch a Jeffrey Dahmer serial killer movie. Because that's what I was telling Jackie. I was like, I like this kid that's in the Dahmer one. He plays it super creepy, but I was like, I always like Jeremy Renner in those. I mean, it was like one of his first roles, and I think he nailed it. Um, but yeah, like even Jackie watches true crime stuff all the time. It doesn't bother me. There'll be a few she'll skip over if it's real like close to home, or if it involves kids or something. Um, but yeah, she flat out said no to rewatching this movie. And I remember when we watched it the first time together. She was a new mom. We loved horror movies, so it was like, oh, absolutely, let's watch this. And she was repulsed. We rented it. We didn't go to the theater. New kid, we can't just run off to the theaters.
Yeah.
Um, she was like visibly repulsed by the movie. I was too, and I watched it again years later, still repulsed. And what was really weird was when Nate brought this movie up to me and he's like, let's do this one. And I was like, yeah, I didn't tell him all of this because I wanted to save it for the show, but I also remember every moment of this movie. I had only seen this movie twice, and my memory of it was as if I watch it every year.
That it's funny. There's only a couple parts in this that I vaguely didn't remember. But step A to B to C was all
Yeah.
there still, which is very rare, which tells me obviously watching this when my mind is still formulating when I'm 17 years old.
Mhm.
The movie made an impact.
That's my point.
Like I thought in the final act more mutants get killed.
No.
That was the only thing. I was like, man, I could have sworn like we see this axe just going on and on and on. It doesn't,
No.
but what it does, it gives us some really good quality ones.
The fights go on and on,
Yeah.
not multiple people. I love the end of the movie. This is where I struggle the most. It's probably one of my favorite climax ending to a movie in a long time.
The movie is still extremely frustrating. That has not changed. And it's interesting to see it through a new lens as an adult.
Yeah.
And what I like in horror and what I dislike in horror these days. And I feel like what hinders this movie so much is it's going for shock and not dread. And dread, I mean like the impendingness of doom, where this is just like it's in your face, it's raw, it's just oh, that made you upset. Let's just try to keep making you further upset.
See, I get
And
that, but
you have characters that are just extremely frustrating to deal with as well. Decisions
yeah,
that are being made, and you're not trying to victim blame, but it's just stuff that you're like, I guess that's what makes it effective too, because you want to be there to like, no, do this, you know?
what I think it does really well is with the characters, they are the most realistic family on a road trip that you can experience on film. They're not fake happy. They're like pissed off at each other. There's so many like normal, I should say, things like the dad doesn't like the son-in-law all that much. They're at odds. It's I mean, it's probably the only time we'll say words like this, but in the movie, it's literally Republican versus Democrat in the movie. You know, that's the
Yeah,
dad
I
is
mean, it definitely
super.
is. I
Oh,
mean,
they
it
make
makes
the
the comment
comment.
that,
Yeah.
like, you know, the one boyfriend is a
Doesn't like
Democrat, so he doesn't like
guns.
guns.
Yeah. And there's already just this tension between the two of them. They have a new the son and the daughter have a newborn that they're taking on a cross country road trip. So I know how stressful that is when you have a newborn. You have adolescent brother and sister running around at odds with each other. The mom who just wants the family to be together and she's trying to make it as pleasant for everyone, but you can tell she's visibly stressed because of it all. It's real.
Yeah,
And
well,
that's
it's
the thing with this movie is the
I would never put
realness.
myself in a situation of like I'm gonna drive across the
No.
desert because I'm like, hell no, I'm gonna fly. This would have been God, it was when my buddy Dom got married because it was a 4-hour flight to Vegas, and that would have been the longest flight I've ever been on.
Yeah.
And I hate flying, so I was really like trying to get out of flying.
Yeah, try
But
to fly.
I was like, best buds getting married, gotta be there. I was
Mm.
trying to convince my brother to rent a car and drive cross country to Vegas. It's a 30-hour drive, 31 hours, like something like that
You
from
wanted
Ohio.
30-hour drive instead
I
of
would
a
have taken
4-hour
that
flight.
instead of a 4-hour flight. Couldn't convince him, but I was trying to do the sales pitch of like we could see America in a way we've never seen before. We'll be going through states that we've never known. You know, there's so many shenanigans we could get into. And then as I'm watching this movie, I'm like, hey, I'm glad we flew.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I
Because
don't
we would have had to drive through the desert at some point to get to Vegas. But these guys are not through like a normal highway. They're on the off beaten path of the desert.
This is that
Someone
typical
decided this was a
dad.
shortcut who
Yeah.
did not decide to print off the MapQuest directions.
Yeah, MapQuest was the thing. Why they didn't have MapQuest
Yeah,
printed
with
off,
the
that I would have loved
highlighters and
that. Yeah.
everything.
And it was that, yeah, I think they kind of even talk about that the dad didn't care how long it took. If it took it longer, he was actually happier. But they literally just got off the highway to do this little side detour. So I watched the original a few weeks ago. I was like, you know what? I'm getting ready to watch the remake. I haven't watched the original in like 25 years.
Same. And
You
like
know?
I seriously wanted to watch the original again before this.
Yeah.
It was a matter of timing. It seriously took me 2 days just to finish this movie. Not because I was like, oh, I can't. Like, it was just, I have been extremely busy.
Nate's always busy. He's at so many vacations and concerts and everything he's been doing lately. It's crazy. No wonder he needs a month off. It'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I watched the original because I was like, how close were they? Like when I watched the remake, the old one wasn't fresh in my mind, so they could have changed 1,000 things,
Now,
and I
can
would
I
have
interject
known.
my thoughts because I haven't seen it, and then you tell me if I'm correct?
Oh, sure, yeah, let's do that. That sounds fun.
If I remember right, this remake follows the original pretty damn closely, but on a more visceral level. A more we have the prosthetics and the technology here compared to what
Yes.
they had.
Yes.
And on a a shoestring of a budget that Wes Craven had compared to, I think, like 15 million that they had for this movie.
Yeah.
So, but everything else, I was like, I remember the original being just as cutthroat, but it doesn't have the super blood splatters, you know? But everything else, tone wise and sadistic acts, is still there.
The sadistic acts are there, but not drawn out like Aja's is. Is that
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
It does follow pretty damn close. I think the ending is a little different because the ending of the new one is a bit more dramatic and faster paced.
Well, the ending kind of reminds me of like I guess like the action part, you could say,
Yeah.
of this one. Does the dad get caught on fire in
Yep.
the original? Does he? I did not remember that.
Yep. They burned the dad in the original one. The trailer sequence is in the original. I mean, the most iconic thing from the original is Michael Berryman being in that. You know,
Yeah.
everyone
Oh yeah, definitely
knows that guy. You know, like Hills Have Eyes, People Under the Stairs, Weird Science. I mean, everyone's like, who? And it's like, look at this is literally one of those guys. Google him, look at his face, you'll be like, oh shit,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
guy.
Like
Yeah.
it's stand. You've been to a con, you've seen him.
You've seen him. You've walked through the video store. His face is on like a ton of VHS covers.
Yeah.
So he's always going to be iconic for that. He's kind of that. I think that's what Lizard is the proxy of in the remake. Is
Yeah.
of him. I don't remember if his name was Lizard in that or not. So
I can't remember. Well, it's funny too because with Wes Craven, he made a sequel right out the gate as well,
yes,
and it's forgotten. It's not as
Oh,
good.
it pales and it's well,
pales.
there's a
And then
sequel to
they
this
made
one.
a sequel to this one written by Craven and his son. They didn't direct it, but they wrote it. Came out the following year. Pales in comparison to this one.
It doesn't hold a candle. Like they did
And that's
the
the
gore.
lack of having Alexandre Aja there as well.
They did the gore and they did the violence. It just doesn't have the impact.
It feels like a sci-fi direct to cable movie.
It kind of went that well. That's also with the story because now they're against the military. The military are coming in to clear them out. So it's just this like predator type thing, except they're mutant
dog soldiers-esque.
Yeah, mutant hillbillies that are out attacking people. And I like the premise of the story. Nuclear testing. People didn't want to leave the area. Some stayed behind. Government's like, screw it, we're still going to drop bombs. And all this happened. This is legit stuff. I lived in White Sands, New Mexico as a baby. That was one of the places that did the nuclear testing, back in the 50s, 60s, stuff like that. Not when we lived there, but it really is true.
The way that your family actually moved was you all got into the fridge when the nuke went off, and then you stumbled and rolled and tumbled until you got to Virginia.
We Indiana Jones did. That's exactly what we did. Yeah,
I figured.
That movie doesn't exist. My dad was military, so we lived White Sands military base.
More reasons why the nuke went off. You had to get into the fridge and then tumble into Virginia.
I think honestly, it's another reason why this movie's so real to me.
It very well could be if this is where your origins start.
This movie isn't supernatural. This movie isn't what we're used to with serial killers and slashers and stuff like that. These are survivalists. So we get this thing that this has been going on for a long time. They've got the old Frank guy at the gas station that will set them up with.
And how the hell did he even get tied up with these people?
My guess is he opened up a gas station and they realized. So in the original, they really talk more about the fact that they would barter with this guy. They would trade some of the things they find to him. And they touch on that in this movie too, but not as the
so this
original
poor guy. He goes to the bank. He wants an LLC loan.
Mm.
He's like, there's a little spot in the desert where people, still travel, not often, but do. And they're going to need some snacks and gas. And I want to
Yep.
open up a gasoline store.
Mhm.
And, I'll have a station there.
Yeah.
And then he gets it all. He doesn't build it, that's for sure. He definitely takes one. He's like, I'll tidy it up a bit. Only to then realize that mutants are his neighbors.
Sure. I could. It's called the road they were on was the original main highway, the
And
main
then
thorough.
the interstate
The
was built.
interstate comes in and it diverts all the
Yeah.
traffic, and it slows down. But anyway, in the original, they do talk like Ruby is trading furs with him. He actually hides her from the. There's like a cop that stops by looking for someone. They dig more into it in the original. This one, they kind of vilify the guy a little bit more. Not that he wasn't a villain in the first one, the original.
I mean, this guy seems to be completely haunted by all of his decisions, but
he's ready to get
still
out.
absolutely willing to,
Well, he
set
was
the family up.
only willing to after the daughter went inside and he thought she saw all the stolen goods and that he knew her dad was a retired detective because they're
Yeah.
talking when they're getting gas. That's why he did it. That's why he was tortured by it, because he was on his way out, but he still sent this family basically to their death, which is why he's losing his mind afterwards too. And Ted Levine, I want to talk about him for a second. The dad, old Big Bob.
Yeah.
Dude, I love Ted Levine, man. This guy is one of the most underrated actors in Hollywood right now. He just has a presence to him. His voice, the way he talks, the way he delivers lines. I was there for him, and I knew what was going to happen to him. And I'm like, I don't. I know he's an asshole to his, son-in-law, but he's also a dad. He's a family man. He's just trying to toughen up his kid. He's trying to be the patriarch of the family. And what happens to him in this movie is the first really disturbing instance that
Well,
just
it goes on for so long.
dude, it is painful to watch from getting taken, because I don't know. I don't want to go through the entire movie.
No,
but
like I'd even put it like I
they
made
get
a point where it's like there's parts of this movie we're just not going to talk about.
Nope.
You
Nope.
know, we're just not going to talk about it.
I'm literally gonna just say something happens and we're gonna glaze over it. I am not staying on that. I will on the dad thing because that is the first impactful thing that happens.
That's when the shit goes down and we've at this point I think we have built up for probably 35 40 minutes, which is a long setup
it is
to have it finally happen, because the movie starts out classic slasher. We get like 5 people instantly,
like scientists getting
killed off, and it's like, all right, you were in their neighborhood and we got some glorious pickaxe kills.
Yeah. And that works. It gets you jazzed because you're like, okay, they're not going to hold back in this. And if you were a fan of the original, you knew it was going to take a little bit of setup. They're going to get sent on the wrong road. The tires get blown out. They wreck the car. So there's no chance of getting away. And so the dad goes walking back to the gas station. The son-in-law goes walking further down the road to see how close they are to anything. And
Which I think is fair, because I mean, the movie does a smart job. Like, oh, we don't have any reception.
Yeah, no
so it's
cell
like,
phone.
Obviously, you're just gonna kind of like walk around and try to figure it out.
I like that the son-in-law worked for a cell phone company, so it was just one more thing for the dad to be pissed off at him about. It's like, you can't even make that work. That's your job. Your job is cell phones, and they're not
still
working.
not in the smartphone era. We're in
no.
Can you hear me now era.
I think we're just before the "Can you hear me now?" like a year or two before that whole thing.
That's what I want. I want The Hills Have Eyes to be remade again but with the "Can You Hear Me Now" guy, and it's just like him going further and further out,
Further into the desert.
and
Can you
then
hear me
he
now?
got to that part and was like, "Oh no!" But he survives. We get the same
Hilarious.
third act, but with the "Can You Hear Me Now" guy, and he comes back, and clothes are all tethered, like destroyed, covered in blood, and he walks straight to Verizon HQ and quits. And that's why now he's doing the commercials for AT&T or whatever company that he does them for. This is all a story arc for this man and why he switched cell phone companies.
See, I want to get really cerebral. So right after, so it's the now, can you hear me now, guy? But he walks past an accident that just happens, and Flo's standing there taking all the like
Oh yeah, yeah,
information.
yeah.
So
Now we have the extended universe of insurance companies and cell phone companies.
just all commercial characters in the movie. I'd watch that. So anyway, so the dad goes back to it, and dad's already kind of like on edge, like the guy sent him down that road. Like he's he's like, I'm just gonna borrow the old guy's car. He's gonna let me do it. And I'm like, oh, he's confident. Go for it.
Yep.
And it's obviously it's turning night, so it works really good at that point. And the old dude's losing his mind. They get into a little bit of a gunfight, and the dad realizes there's other people around somewhere, gets into the old guy's car, and somebody's in the back seat and takes him.
This
So
scene, like I said, I get frustrated a lot with this because I'm like,
yeah,
I have my own personal gripes with a revolver because it takes a while to reload
yeah,
if you don't have a speed reloader,
right. Which he
And
did.
in my head, if you're in a horror situation, you're a little bit more shaky too, which when coming to reloading a revolver makes it even harder. And then
He
he
did
just starts throwing shots off into the desert.
that. I
And
got
it's just like,
so
you only got
mad.
6 rounds, my dude, before you got to reload. Like, you got to make these ones count. Because unlike if you have a Glock or something, you have anywhere between 9 to 16 rounds. And
Yep.
then you have an extra mag. So now you've got 32 rounds of possibility very, very quickly compared to your 6 that you really got to make count.
He flails shooting that, and I'm like,
And I'm
man,
like,
that is
you're an
not.
ex-cop / detective.
Yeah,
Damn it, man. Why are you doing this?
yeah, and it's the classic. Always check the back seat before you get
Always.
into
I
a
mean, urban
vehicle.
legend taught us that. That one sticks
Exactly.
with me because I was real young when I saw it. I went, oh, if I get in the car at night, you check the back seat to make sure there's not an axe wielder back there.
I don't know why. I got this thing the other night watching. I was flipping through like Tubi and stuff like that, looking at these like movies that came out in the 2000s, and it was like urban legend, and then like Valentine.
Oh, yeah, those early 2000s had all the sexy people
Yeah,
being
I
in
was.
movies now.
I just had this like I kind of want to rewatch these for some reason.
Yeah,
Like I
it's like,
know they suck, but
but
I
now you kind
kind
of
of
look at it with the adult lens of
yeah.
like, well, maybe they have something in them.
Maybe there's something there
Like,
I don't remember.
obviously, it's been out for a couple weeks now, but the new Halloween Kills has been out. And I did not enjoy it, but there's one kill in it that is so good. It's like probably one of the best slasher kills in my recent memory. And I'm like, why couldn't this be in a different movie? This is so cool.
Don't you hate it when a shit movie has some of the best kills in it?
Yeah.
I think that's actually one of it. I don't want to say this is a shit movie because it's not. It's just not a movie that I watch for enjoyment. And leading up into the dad sequence, there's so much is happening right as this kill gets ready to go on. And the dad is a distraction for the mutants to kind of
This
come
is
down
where
on
we
the
get
family.
the trailer assault that terrible things happen.
Terrible. I was not going there. I was going to focus more on the dad because to
it's
me
just
that was impactful.
that's where
But
it's frustrating where it's like they split the part. Well, they didn't even split the party. If they would have split the party, there probably would have been better results here.
everyone's in
But
panic mode.
everyone's
This
in panic
is
mode, and it's very realistic to where, yes, if you're hearing your husband scream being burned alive, you're going to be focusing on that. And
yeah.
it's just the chaos of it all ensues and you're not prepared. It's after the trailer sequence is where the movie, I think, finally starts to become less frustrating for me, because that's what leads into our final act.
It does.
And
So
I think what we should do is go to commercial first, and then we can kind of lead into that section.
yeah, we can do that.
We'll be back following these messages.
Just how drunk are we gonna get?
Welcome to Good Beer, Bad Movie Night, where each month we drink finely crafted brews while watching terrible films in order to see just how drunk you have to get to enjoy them. So tune in and join Troy,
Killboy Kreitz.
Oh, that was pretty good.
Thank you.
Dave,
I have the weirdest boner.
and Pete.
IPAs are ales, meaning they are bottom fermented. Excuse me, they are top fermented. I that up. Try that again.
As we drag Kathleen, kicking and screaming through an alcohol-fueled podcast dedicated to movies of questionable quality and the frosty adult beverages that help make them tolerable. Good Beer, Bad Movie Night. Clearly, it's the beer's fault.
According to legend, little folk know Hills is where the toys are. G.I. Joe has adventure in sight. Battle Force 2000 is highly trained to fight. The Tiger Force team is the camouflage elite. G.I. Joe from Hasbro for action hard to beat. Lots of toys every day. Another reason why they say Hills is where the toys are.
At low prices every day.
Hello! Welcome to 100 Horrors, a comedy podcast that seeks to rank the best 100 horror films of all time, as dictated to us by a poster that one of us owns.
Every week, we bicker over another film in an attempt to give it an overall scare factor and secure its place in the 100 Horrors list.
With features such as but at least I won't die like that. And
What would you say to them at the funeral?
we take a light-hearted approach to horror cinema so that it can be enjoyed by even the most squeamish of listeners.
So, whether you're the person who's never seen a horror film in their life, or the person who has a tattoo of Leatherface on the right arse cheek, there's something to be enjoyed in every episode of 100 Horrors.
Welcome back.
I'll tell you right now, my boy Duke would not allow the events of Hills Have Eyes to happen. All of G.I. Joe would have came in and kicked some ass.
I don't know why I felt I had to put that commercial in here, other than it's Hills. Hills Have Eyes. And it is November, so we're barreling towards Christmas.
Yeah, this is
And
now we need to get our
you gotta
every
get
episode in November is gonna be toy propaganda.
yeah. It's just like getting the Sears catalog, you know, when because they always send it early.
I want this one and I want
The
this
wish
one.
book.
If I can get the Ecto one, that'd be really cool, because then I could put my Ninja
Yeah.
Turtle in it.
And I don't know why I felt that commercial for this type of episode, because this is such a somber episode to do. And I throw a freaking Hills retail toy commercial
Fair.
in. So, yeah, that happened. You're welcome. Little levity in between the heaviness of this episode.
Yes.
It's super heavy.
So, because the trailer scene happens, a baby gets kidnapped. Like father, like son. The son just wastes ammo as the target is moving away and doing serpentine.
Yeah, but they're carrying the baby, so the part of me is like, just don't shoot.
I know, right? It's like, just don't do that. I know that I am not John McClane. Like, I know that if I'm going to shoot at something, it has to be perfectly still within 5 feet away from me with a pistol, and I will hit it, or 10 feet, 15, whatever it is at the shooting range where I go where I feel comfortable. Right.
Nate likes to go and he does like the whole Danny Glover thing. He pulls out his revolver. He kind of cracks his neck around a little bit. He aims carefully, then shoots.
Yes.
You know.
And in a real life scenario, I need it to be just like that. And the perpetrator is not allowed to fire back at me, and they have to stand still.
There's, and facing me, not
And
sideways.
they also have to be painted like blue, red, yellow. It's a very strange ritual that has to be done. But if you give me a shotgun, you're all in big trouble now.
Everyone, even if you're on his side.
Yeah.
So much collateral damage.
They should have been packing as shotguns, what I'm saying.
Oh, man. And then, again, we get into
we do
this.
get one involved later.
Yeah. We do get this back into the realism that they easily could have like glossed over a lot of what happens between now to where the son goes running after the mutants. Now they're like having to deal with the dead bodies that are left and carry them out of the trailer and put them in the
dealing with
car.
This
the aftermath,
brutal aftermath of everything. And there's even like they're still tense and like they shoot at the door when it's closed because they hear it outside rustling.
Yeah, they almost killed their dog.
Support because I'm like,
yeah.
In that moment, if I can't see on the other side and I know all my people are with me, I'll put a couple bullets through that door real quick because why not?
Yeah, I everything they do is believable to that's what I believe someone that's in panic mode because
we're so used to movies catering us to people kind of have like an instant solution or like they perfectly like I don't know solve what's going on around them.
They have a plan. They know the next
it gets
step.
executed, but there's always one thing that kind of messes up the plan. Where like this movie, in your head, you're like, "Oh, here's what I would do. Here's what I would do." But it's like, if you were in this moment, you don't stand
this
a
is
chance. You're
this
blindsided.
is what you believe they actually would do because you have the son-in-law who wasn't a Boy Scout. He has no survival instincts whatsoever. But he is the most level-headed of the thing. Like the young son, when I say young son, we're talking, I think, 15, probably
16. He's probably Anthony's age, I think.
He's probably right around there, and he's just in panic mode. His dad's dead, his mom's dead. Everything's happening. His sister's dead, the older sister, and he wants to just run out into the night, firing the gun. He's just in that state of panic. The younger daughter is basically in like panic, damn near catatonic, but she also drops into these fits as the movie goes, and we've glazed past it, but if you've seen the movie, you know why she is that way, and she continues that. And that, to me, that's where the stress starts really getting to me, is you're so frustrated that they need to just stop for a second and focus, and they can't. So much is happening, and that the mutants are using this to their advantage. This ain't the first time they've done this. We also get to see the creator that have, I don't know, 50, 60 vehicles stashed from all of their other victims that the son-in-law run into when he was walking the opposite
he was
way
just
of the
collecting
dad.
trash every time he was walking around.
Well, he saw some cool. I would have picked up a nice looking
you
fishing
find some
pole.
shiny stuff, you're gonna be like, cool.
Let me take that back. Put Charlie in this situation. I'm driving one of those vehicles back. Okay,
You're not going to care about the rims.
Oh, there's enough vehicles there. I could have made a
You're going to MacGyver it
to drive back. That big ass GMC pickup truck, old school. I'm sitting there going, I guarantee I can suck gas out of 90% of these vehicles, pour it into that one,
clean the
and
carburetor out, and you're good to go. I don't have to worry about any computers in any of these vehicles.
And you're like, Charlie, why specifically that one? Well, it's because guess what? I have a trailer that I can now put everyone in. I can put the RV onto that truck, and I'm the hero of the day. Nope, this dumbass walks back with a fishing pole and a stuffed animal that had been out in the elements for years. I'm going to give this to my kid because I'm a good dad. And I was just, that guy frustrated me.
You're gonna actually build the the Death Coaster from Army of Darkness
Yeah.
as well, and have that propeller going around. And you're like, well, we're going to drive through Nuketown
Hey.
from that Call of Duty map real quick.
There might have been a Delta 88 out in that wasteland of vehicles. I'd have
Look,
grabbed
man,
that
the
Oldsmobile
Delta
too.
88 is going to outlive all of us.
It is, man. It really is.
If I could get my hands on a Delta 88 just to park, not on the curb, but in my actual yard,
Mm.
and I live in the city, and I know that would be very frowned upon, but I want it.
The sad part is there was a point where you could probably get that car for next to nothing. But now that there's like a small fandom around it, it's like you can't get a Delta 88 for cheap now. It's like trying to
No.
get a Christine.
It would be
a
pure
Plymouth
luck.
Fury. Yeah. And so it's like, yeah, in the 80s and 90s, we probably could have got a hold of these things pretty cheap. Now, no. But no, so that was my frustration, just to put a little bit of levity back into this episode. So they find a radio that was left behind, and they figure out that the girl, the baby, Catherine, is still alive. And now the mutants are taunting them that they have the baby.
Yes, because of thankfully we have walkie-talkie technology,
We have walkie-talkie technology, and so what happens, and it's kind of weird, is there was one mutant left to watch him. His name was Goggles. And he is like, after everything happens, you kind of think he's going to be the one that takes them the rest of the way out. One of their dogs destroys this mutant.
Oh, it's such a satisfying. This is a good dog, all right. And I don't care, horror movie, action, comedy, dogs should have immunity to everything.
Yeah, so there were two dogs in this,
Yeah.
so that's another part that they really. There's no one safe in this movie. Period. They kill a dog, they do everything, but I think it's Beast is the one that's left at the end. Beast rips Goggles' throat out, which is how they get the
We get to see some
walkie-talkie.
good flesh being torn.
Oh, it was good. Good blood spurts, jugular action. So the son-in-law now decides, I gotta go get my kid. Okay, cool. I'm with you. That's probably what I would do too. I don't know if I would have left the other two at the trailer though.
That's where it gets really hard. Of like, well, what do you do? Because do you bring both of them with you? Like, do you stay behind the trailer and wait, play defense, or do you play offense?
I believe offense was the correct play because you don't know what they're going to do with the kid. But I don't think I would have left the teenagers behind. I would have taken them with me, or I would have sent them back towards the gas station. There's no right answer, but leaving them alone was not, in my opinion, the call I would have played at all.
Totally fair.
Yeah. Not to mention, he walks towards the zombie camp with a baseball bat, a radio, and a dog.
Hey, man, he's playing Fallout 76 or Fallout 3 on survival mode.
I don't know. I put myself in this situation, and it's just like, I think I would have found something better than a bat. Or the bat would have looked like Lucille.
You would have had like a tire iron or something like that.
I would have had additional things with me.
Yeah, I would have had the tire iron strapped to my back. That way I could throw it like a frisbee when needed. Because if anyone gets hit, even like with a tire iron, like just slightly thrown, they're at least going to wince a little.
I mean, if it's one of those the 4 cross ones, I'm throwing that thing like the glaive from
I'm taking
Krull.
a hubcap off, and I'm turning into a Captain America shield for myself.
Yeah. No, I would have went better armed. That's, I can figure stuff out, but this guy obviously isn't. And so he goes out to get his daughter back. Now's when the movie picks up for me, and I am in 1,000% because he goes stealth mode video game style. He now is infiltrating this little like town of mutants, and we see that there's a lot of them. There's Mama Mutant, there's Daddy Mutant, there's Uncle Mutant, there's Big Head Mutant. It's this cavalcade of people.
That somehow
And
they still get divorce court on the TV.
I love that. I love that they
mean-
still get some kind of reception.
They're in the
They're-
middle of nowhere, and they're doing exactly what I did when there was nothing on TV at 4 in the afternoon, and it's a rainy day, so you couldn't go outside, and you just,
You
you're
watch
kind of
Divorce
just
Court.
stuck, and you're just watching divorce court.
Yeah. They have a little motor powered generator, so they have power. I mean, they're surviving. That's what they do. It kind of alludes that they live in the tunnels, but the tunnels just how they get around the desert. They actually live in houses. They're run down.
Yeah,
and
it's the
beat to
Call of
shit.
Duty map, Nuketown.
It is. He finds his daughter in one of the rooms. He successfully sneaks in and gets a hold of her. So there's like this moment of, damn, he's actually going to pull
But
this
he's
off.
quick.
He's quick. He's quiet, and he messes up. He gets too confident and gets taken out by Mama Mutant. Just thump, knocks him flat out. And then a part that terrifies the crap out of me, man.
Like,
I hate this part
of waking up in a claustrophobic container,
Yeah.
and it is filled with bloody parts.
Yeah.
His reaction,
It's what I would have
spot
done.
on.
Done 100%.
Just beat the hell out of the top until something happens, basically.
I'm claustrophobic. I am, man. I cannot go into tight spaces. I can't wear something that's too tight. I literally panic. Like I won't be able to get out. Even though once you calm down, you're like, you can cut yourself out or
It's
just
hard to calm down though when you're in panic mode.
And it's like I've
Me of
said,
roller coasters.
I've said it before, Descent is probably the only movie that actually does scare me, and it's only one spot, and it's the claustrophobic scene. But no, this guy panicking in here, I even though look at it and go, I'd have got through that top in like 2 kicks. It does they drag it out, and I'm like, I'd have stood up and I'd have been out of that top.
This movie pads out a lot of scenes
It
for
does.
unnecessary moments, long shots of deserts. It pads out stuff like how I will pad out an episode, so I beat you to that joke.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
It's unnecessary.
It is. Well, and it kind of is like right after he gets out, it now drags out where he sees the one with the messed up head, and he's creeping around, and then he has a conversation with the guy.
That's the I'm going to say that word a lot, so take a shot every time.
Yeah, frustrating.
He's having like a full-blown conversation, like as if he thinks he can reason with them, or I guess barter with them. It's like, dude, nah, like at this point, you already know you're in a tiny village of, fake homes.
Yeah.
You just start,
They're gonna
knock that guy out, you dispose of him, go to the next home.
They're gonna eat you.
Go to the next one.
They're gonna eat you. And I get the whole thing of tell me where my daughter is. So that obviously is the first thing you do.
Yeah.
Tell me where my daughter
Once
is.
that person is not going to negotiate with you,
I would have took that baseball
done
bat
for.
across his head and either exploded it or
the
knocked
way
his
the
head
is
off.
dangling
Yeah.
over the chair. Oh,
I'd
yeah.
have-
That would have instantly been a skull
I'd
crack in
have
there, all right?
I'd have guillotined him. But we do get the awesome fight.
We get a fast and brutal fight, dude.
Him and Sloth from Goonies go at it. And hey, you mutants! And this guy, I mean, it's fantastic, like prosthetics. The mutants look fantastic in this.
And
From
like
Lizard and this guy,
the
fat
setting
head.
inside the house, how run down it feels like it's been lived in for years and years and years.
It's
and
in a desert.
collected everything.
But it's also in a desert, so it's dirty and dusty and
grimy, but it allows for so much destruction.
They're busting through walls. they're
Yes.
slamming each other, or it's this mutant
And it's
slamming
dummy
this.
walls, so it's like everything's dummy stairs and stuff. So like it's easy for it all to break, and like it just makes it so much more violent as we have
man.
Pyro fighting this mutant.
Sloth or Pyro. Who's Pyro?
That's the guy. That's the guy that played Pyro in like the first couple X-Men movies.
What?
Yeah, the guy getting his kid.
Doug?
Yeah.
Doug is Pyro.
Aaron Stanford. That's Pyro. That's a guy I wish would show up in more things.
I had no idea, man.
Yeah.
Pretty
cool.
I did read that the Doug character looks a lot like Alexandre Aja, the director. Like,
oh, really?
Yeah, they said that it was very much almost that you were watching Aja in the movie. And for those of you that may think that name's familiar, it is. We have covered one of his movies
We
already
have
on the
I was
podcast.
waiting for when we were going to bring it up.
Well, we just jumped into what this is how these last few movies we've done is it's not so much we're talking you through the movie, we're just talking to about how it affected us and what we felt as we watched, like with Sleepy Hollow and Underworld and all these type of movies of just this feeling that we get as we watch them. And like High Tension is a very gritty, wild movie to watch.
But when you watch it and then you knew that he did this, it makes total sense.
Oh, it fits.
The only guy for the job.
It's one of the reasons why I liked one of his more recent movies so much was Crawl with the alligators in Florida.
Gush about Crawl.
Oh, Jackie and I went to the theater because we love
same
creature feature type things like that. Nature gone
it's
awry.
very rare that I would go to the theater for something like that, but that one I was sold on instantly.
I was like, if it was good enough to go to the theater, we went, and God, I enjoyed the hell out of that one. And it is so weird that this guy has made movies that I thoroughly love. High Tension, and I talk about that movie to people that are like, I need a movie I've never heard of, and I'm like, High Tension. Most people have never heard of it or seen it. Yet he also made a movie that literally I don't want to say disgusted, but it's really the only word
that struck a nerve with you.
It did. Unnerving. That comes back to that whole thing of, what they even say, this gut-wrenching movie, and this is one of the few that did it to me. Till the end. Now, the end I'm all here for. So they have a knockdown, drag-out fight with the big baddie mutant, and he overcomes him and stabs him in the foot and then stabs him through the head with an American flag. I'm like, it's just like, wow, this is crazy.
The one thing that I have an annoyance with this fight scene is it does that thing where it slows the speed of the shot down at one point, and it's just like, don't do that in horror. Like, keep like the fast-paced energy going, because now you've got the adrenaline going.
Yeah, I don't like it slow. Especially whenever like he kills the guy outside that's like walking around.
That's the thing. Like you get one of the most satisfying axe kills ever.
Oh, it's one of my
And then
favorites.
you get another satisfying axe kill. Like they're just back to back.
They're back to back, and my favorite is when he flips the axe around in his hand, and it's a pick. So it's like a fireman's axe. So it has the broad head, but then the sharp point at the other end. He flips that axe around in his hand and drives that point into that guy's eyeball. Just
so good.
It's so satisfying. It is my. If I can only watch that, this would be my favorite movie ever. If it was only the
That's
end
why in
of
my
this
head,
movie.
the last act of the movie was just like axe to the head, pickaxe to the head, axe to the head. Like I really thought it was just like there's 30 mutants lined up, and he's just like da 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 da. Yeah, And when that wasn't happening, I'm like, oh, all right, this is more realistic. But man, at least they get you going. They get you hyped up.
Yeah.
And then our dog gets his second kill. That doesn't happen often.
Man. No, this dog is badass. I love the dog. So the dog is a weapon, and it's fantastic. And also, while all this is going on, Ruby has taken the baby. She has taken
Just the
pity
mutant
on
child in this movie that we have
the
failed to
girl.
mention, but
I
she is
mentioned Ruby with
definitely
the gas
less.
attendant.
Oh, that's true. She's definitely less annoying than Bob.
Oh, she is 1,000% less. Bob, I would have just been like, feed him to the mutants.
Yeah,
I'd have
Bob.
been totally
Like
fine
if
with
we
that.
would have went on vacation, are we there yet, Doug?
And we took a car ride, and then we crashed.
We went into the desert, and there was mutants.
I would have sent Bob back to the gas
I
station.
would have left him at the gas station. Also, like kept on going, still got into the wreck and everything, and be like, "Oh no, we
I'd
left
Home Alone
Bob."
his ass. Home Alone his ass. Bob, damn it, we left Bob, and everyone else is like, yeah, we just didn't want to say anything. Like they all knew we left him.
Remake Home Alone with Bob. And the wet bandits don't even want to break into the house.
No, they're like, no, we heard that.
We'll just
kid.
pick another one in the neighborhood.
There was like so many. Just pick them. No one else was home.
You're all a bunch of filthy animals.
God, I hate Bob. So Ruby takes off into the desert with the baby. Lizard is following close behind. And that's when Doug sees all this going on. So it turns into this big chase into the desert.
Now, if a cannibal is chasing you, like right now in the shop, what's your first instinct?
I have shop axe.
Oh, all right. Yep. You instantly win.
I also have shop sword, shop gun. Don't attack me in my home base. That's
well,
all.
If that cannibal breaks in, he lost.
Yeah.
All right. I was just something I was curious about when watching the movie. I was like, I'm gonna write this down.
I'm the new cannibal.
Look at me. The cannibal now.
I'm the cannibal now. No, do not come to where I live to think you can. Like, don't send clown telegrams to me. So they won't find the body. All this is happening. There's one particular reason I want to even touch on this. So the teenagers have fortified the trailer with fishing line and propane. Now the propane tanks was kind of a cool idea. They had a plan to trap a mutant. What they didn't know is Papa Jupiter, the main mutant guy, not even a mutant, he's just the leader, is drawing on them. And he runs into the trailer. They rig it up where he's chasing them because he takes the body of the mom or daughter and is eating it.
Yeah, and like what I love about it too is I feel like you said, no one's safe. So it's like, like we're about to have another member of the family bite it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not to mention, no one's safe. Like they came back for the dead body. And it's
like clearly they're nothing's off limits.
Nothing's off limits. So Papa Jupiter chases after the boy, and they have set up this trap inside the trailer. So they get themselves in the trailer. They trap Papa Jupiter's hand as he's reaching through the window when he grabs them, ties it to the trailer. They then set up matches across the sliding screen door, turn all the gas propane things on in the thing. And I was appreciative. Most places that do that in the movies just open up the valve. That doesn't do anything. There's safety features.
Yeah.
They actually have the hoses cut.
Yeah, they busted the lines to make sure that you're actually going to fill this small space with gas.
And I love all that. And so Papa Jupiter gets his hands free. He rips the door open, which lights the matches. Now you're like, well, Charlie, you said there's a really good reason you're bringing this up, and this just sounds like another kill. It's because it was so long ago that I watched this movie. I'm watching it, and I see Papa Jupiter, and I go, holy shit! It's Billy Drago from Delta Force 2.
What?
It's Billy Drago.
Are you? What?
I am not. He's got
Billy
the
Drago
long,
was in this movie, and I didn't realize it.
Long hair. He's definitely older, but that's IMDb it as I double checked myself, and I was like, holy shit, it's Billy Drago. Like, the dude that has fought Chuck Norris in like 3 or 4 movies is the most slimy, creepy bad guy. And he's a mutant that's in the movie for like 5 minutes. And I was just ecstatic going, oh, it's my favorite now.
As I look at him, like, I see it, but he is so dirty looking.
Yeah.
Holy crap, my mind is blown right now that is
Yeah.
Billy Drago.
When his face pops through the window when he grabs the girl and the son wrenches her away and he ties the hand, you see his face, and I was I was like, no, that's Billy. And I look it up on IMDb and I was like, that is Billy Drago, dude. I was so happy.
He should have been the main villain. He should have been the one negotiating. He should have been the one doing karate.
It was so good. Now, I like the guy that played Lizard in this. Lizard is such a...
Oh, no, he's great. But now that I know that we have a mutant that knows martial arts, the movie has completely changed in my head.
We have a mutant that mutant's 1 degree away from Chuck Norris, man.
Exactly. So
everyone in the movie is 1 degree away from Chuck Norris. That's how that works, man. That's awesome. So yeah, the Papa Jupiter blows up with the trailer. The kids kind of get away, start walking away. Doug fights Lizard. It's a brutal fight. Like, Lizard has like the tire spikes he wears like a bandolier, and he's just slicing at him, swinging it around his head. Doug got a shotgun from one of the mutants. He's not good with weapons, so obviously that usually sounds like a shorter fight, and it's not. It gets drug out. He shoots Lizard in the chest, and immediately I go, double tap, double tap, no. He walks over, kicks the body, and drops the shotgun next to Lizard's
it's
body.
so frustrating when anyone doesn't do
so
double tap.
Mad.
Like, do double tap.
He walks over, takes the baby from Ruby. Lizard comes back up, grabs the shotgun, racks around, and Ruby has to jump in the way of the shot. And they're over they're next to a ravine.
Off a cliff, or ravine's a better way to put it.
The shotgun goes off but doesn't hit anyone, and Ruby and Lizard die. They crash at the bottom of the ravine, splatter. And movie ends.
Yep.
You know, they get reunited with the teenagers. They all cry, hug each other, and that's it.
And you have the twist reveal, I guess, or the final shot of
someone watching them through
binoculars. Someone watching them through binoculars far away.
Yeah.
So do they or don't they make it?
I don't
know. I think something that really like it, especially this time watching it. I got so upset that I don't think. Yes, Brenda blows up Billy Drago, but I wanted one more. Like, I wanted her to have a personal kill, because of the horrific acts that she deals with in this movie.
Yeah,
and it was just like, I wish she could have gotten one pickaxe to the head kill, or something. You know.
I think they just wanted to keep it where she was not in a mental state. Capacity
it's
to
just
do
to me that would have been such a satisfying arc for that character to.
And we want that because of our normal horror movies. Like,
it's just like I wanted her to get some sort of revenge.
That final girl kill, type thing. That's what this movie does so well. Is it's not following any rules to horror movies. There is no, like, you never know who's going to survive. You don't know if Doug's going to make it at the end. You don't know if the 2 kids are going to make it. They kill off people indiscriminately in this, in horrific ways.
Even though this particular one was not made by Wes Craven, it shows how much of a genius Wes Craven was with the original and be able to set this up years later.
I think it honors it well. And I mean, Wes Craven gave thumbs up to this movie.
It's one of those rare remakes where you get all the approval from the originals. And I said it on our Hellraiser live stream of like, oh, this Hellraiser is for the next generation of Hellraiser fans.
Yeah.
This Hills Have Eyes is for like the next generation of horror people. Like me being in high school, like, and seeing this, it's like, oh, like, what's the next extreme horror movie? You know, like I had not seen the original until after seeing this one, and then going and hunting it down. You know.
This is also like right when we were starting to get into the more intense horror movies like Hostel, things that were just saw
And I want to
more
say
graphic, and
it was just after this one was a success. They remade Last House on the Left.
Yeah, another Wes Craven.
Which I absolutely hate the Wes Craven one. Like, I don't think it's a good movie. That is Nate's controversial hot take on horror. Not a fan of the original Last House on the Left. I think the remake is great. Maybe next November when I'm having another like mental health breakdown, I'll be like, all right, let's do the Last House on the Left remake.
Okay, we can do that.
Yeah,
Nothing wrong with that.
We'll just see what happens next year in October.
That's right. That's right. All right, man. Well, let's do our Raining Bloods. I had to rethink through this number when I looked it up, but I watched through one of the Carnage videos and I was like, it's legit. There's 17 people that die in this movie.
Is there really? I thought it might have been like 9 at the most.
I think it's because you forget about the people that die at the beginning. That I'm pretty sure there's like 3 or 4 scientists that bite it, and then you have 1, 2, 3 family members, and then numerous mutants that bite it in this thing. I mean,
way higher than I would recall. I legit thought it was like 9 or 10.
Yeah, it was. It's 17 people die in this. The gas station attendant dies. It just there's a lot. But there's only few that are memorable. Like, really, this is what it really kind of comes down to. So, speaking of that, let's pick our favorite of a movie that it's not really our
Some
favorite.
of these kills are, if anyone says them, they are banned.
Yeah.
Like you're banished.
Yeah, you're out. So
you'll be shamed out.
What do you think? Zombie kill of the week?
So I gotta go first. I know my favorite one, and I think that's technically the kill of the week. But there is a kill in this movie that's stupid disturbing, and it's part of the sequence we don't talk about in this movie. And it's the older sister. So, yeah.
That one's rough.
That one sticks with you.
Yeah.
My favorite, though, is flip the axe around to the pointy bit and shove it through the mutant's face.
It's a good one.
Oh, God, I love that kill. I love that kill. It's the one I remember the most of this entire movie. It's the scene I'm waiting for. Now it's going to be Billy Drago. But from, as far as kills, I'm like, I want the axe kill. And I get it. And I am giddy during that. I am. I get that like, yeah, in the face. That's me on that kill right there. So that's my kill of the week. What about you?
That one's yours. Mine's the classic of getting stabbed in the foot, getting the American flag put through the back, like
Sloth's death.
Sloth's death is so satisfying. It's everything that you've been waiting for. You finally get Pyro to, get to that next level of what he's wanting to do. Like,
yeah,
I love it so much. The whole fight scene's great.
The scene is fantastic because of how long it is. Now, I was they have names, and I never could really figure out all of the names except for like Papa Jupiter and Lizard. But there's one mutant in the IMDb listing called Cyst. And Greg Nicotero played that zombie. The special effects guy.
Really now?
Greg Nicotero. Yeah, we just talked about him not too long ago.
Yeah, we did.
And I was like, is this the big sloth looking guy, or is this the guy with the neck brace? I was like, they don't show pictures sometimes.
It's not like they're talking to each other like, hey, sloth, hey, sis, how's your day going?
They
"Oh,
do,
you
but
know."
it is literally only Papa Jupiter, Goggles, and Lizard are the only ones that they are talking to each other on the radios. That's the only time you hear their names. And that's the only way you know who's who. But yeah, so Greg Nicotero is one of the mutants. I thought that was kind of cool.
That's pretty
He
sweet.
was special effects guy. All right, man. This is probably the most difficult thing about this episode right now is we got to rate this bad boy. So, machete time.
Guys, it's okay. He just wanted his machete back. Woo!
I'm in a conundrum with this one, Nate.
Oh, I imagine so. I feel pretty good where I'm at, though.
Well, I look at it like this. There's some parameters that other people have come on our show whenever we ask them to rate things that's how they determine their score. And it's one of those parameters that causes me difficulty. Because on the surface, if I could only talk about the final like 15, 20 minutes of this movie, I would recommend it to everyone. It would be super high rated because this is one of my favorite endings of these type of movies. Here's my dilemma. I don't think I can recommend this movie to people. I really don't. I'd really have to know you and know your taste in movies before I would recommend watching this.
Here's how it goes with me. When I'm talking horror movies, I never mention Hills Have Eyes.
I never have.
It never gets brought up in the conversation when people ask me what type of horror movies I'm into. And, I give them the standard list. Like, this one never comes up.
Well,
because it's not one that I'm going to recommend.
We were going over the schedule with Pete because we're doing these early, as we talked about, because we're taking November off, and we want to see if he wanted to come in on it. And he goes, "I've never seen the remake," and that moment I went, I don't want to recommend you to watch it.
We're not gonna be like, "Oh, Pete, go ahead and pop it in, check it out, get it from the library." Like, nah, don't do it.
No, it's and that's where I have a problem. I think the movie is fantastically done. It accomplishes everything they set out to do. They didn't like accidentally make it a revolting movie to me. They did it and they succeeded, and it deserves recognition for that. But I don't want to recommend it to people, which means I shouldn't rank this any higher than like a 5. And I think what I'm going to do as far as recommendations go, it's a 4 or 5 to recommend.
I give it a 2.
It doesn't deserve a 2. But effects and visceralness and everything else, this is like a 7 or 8 because that's how much I love the ending of it. So I'm going to split it and I'm going to give it a 6. 6 machetes.
It's fair. I'm right there with you, though. It's 6 for me as well. A lot of it is, like I said, like the lens of horror of what I've come to appreciate and what I like. There's stuff in here that I do like. There's a lot of just unnecessary shots, padding out moments that is not needed. And it's the fact that this movie goes more for just, oh, that offended you, let's just do another thing that offends you, and let's just do another thing that offends you, instead of giving me like dread or suspense. It's kind of just like, we're here to make you mad. And like that type of horror I'm not fully into because I don't like being mad. Does that make sense?
It does, but I think what I have to do is take it from the lens of, it's not so much they're trying to make us mad, they're trying to get us to understand why the character is mad. So there has to be a reason for Doug to go.
I should phrase it too. It's like, this movie doesn't like offend me. Like, it takes a lot to make me like be offended.
let's put it
something
this
about
way.
the feelings that this movie makes me, and it's that frustration, you know.
We both watched the unrated version because to get the full effect, that is the way to watch this. Unfortunately, Charlie had to buy this again to watch it unrated, but it's only a digital copy, which means I can delete it. I'm not going to delete it. This one I'm going to keep. And it's now because now I can realize that I can skip everything I hate and just watch what I love about the movie. But this movie could have gone farther. I will say that.
It absolutely could have, and I'm kind of surprised it didn't.
I am too, especially for
The only
being the
thing is
unrated.
because they threw $15 million at this, and this was an actual studio backing and not like an indie project.
I think
that's why.
they had to hold it.
Because this
but
came out from Fox.
Yeah.
So, you
But
know,
I think Fox also knew that they had to touch those lines, get right up to the edge. But
it's
yeah,
surprising that a big studio was willing to back it.
it's Wes Craven.
Yeah, I mean, that's honestly
it's a Wes Craven
yeah.
story.
They knew with Wes Craven's name on it. That's all you had to put on there.
And
Plus,
Aja had been
this
somewhat
is what
successful.
allowed the re-release of the movie that I was able to pick up of the original.
Yeah.
Because whenever they do something like this, it's like, oh, if I haven't seen that or that was hard to come by, well, now they re-release it. Now you got my money. So
That's right, man.
makes
You
sense.
go grab the original with Michael Berryman on the cover. So
yeah,
that's where we're at, man. So trash review time.
Trash review.
I'm the trash man. I come out, I throw trash all over the ring, and then I start eating garbage. And then I pick up the trash can and I bash the guy on the head.
Oh, that's going to be a disaster.
I know it probably seems like we trash reviewed this movie a little bit, but I don't think we did. I think we explained.
I have a
where
fun
we're
game
at.
for you for this week's installment.
I like games.
I have 3 titles.
Okay.
You're only allowed to pick one.
Ooh, I like
and
this.
that will be the trash opinion.
Oh, I like this.
Yeah.
Okay.
So first up, we have The Scum of Hollywood Has Eyes. Next, we have Repugnant.
Ooh.
After that follows Alexandre Aja equals Walking Scum.
Wow, that's tough. I feel like I'm selecting for the audience here. Repugnant. That's the one I want.
All right. This comes from UT Guard 14 back in 2013. They say, vile, degenerate schlock that passes for horror these days. The great debate between horror fans, I suppose, will always be, is horror supposed to be scary or is it supposed to be shocking and stomach-churning? I favor the former, but this is the latter. First, the original movie did not need to be remade, but I realize that argument is a lost cause in this creativity bereft age for films, particularly horror films. Remakes are and have been a constant for the last decade. They almost always are terrible and, of course, in a pale shade of the original film. But it doesn't matter. Money talks, and people keep watching these things, so they keep being made. The favorable reviews for this remake seem to mostly drool over the gross, bloody, rapey shock value of what it was like. That is what good horror should be about. Clearly, there are those who feel that way, and as I've stated, I am not one of them. So if you like that sort of thing, check it out and become a little bit worse inside. Otherwise, avoid it like the plague. The movie offers nothing but degradation.
Not wrong.
Yeah, I mean,
not wrong. And it 100% right that there's 2 schools of thought with horror. Is it to scare us or is it to repulse us? Take out the unsavory scene in this movie. It's still a gross ass movie with a lot of horrific
for shock
visuals. They don't really go for the scare factor in this. There's no like jump scares. There's no like you said, you kind of were looking for like a sense of dread. I think the sense of dread is just the movie itself, the entire movie. You know something's going to happen. You just don't if you've never seen the original. So take that out of the context. Is they're being set up. You don't know exactly what's going to happen. You also don't know what's going to happen once Doug gets to the town. That's the type of dread it is, not the one person slinking through the house or in the city with something watching them all the time. That type of dread from other scary movies, like haunted houses.
There's a very recent conversation going on from this past month of Terrifier 2 coming out and people getting disgusted in the theater of its limited run, people passing out, and you're going to have the reverse effect of people going, "Oh, you thought Terrifier 2 was gross? Well, you should see blah, blah, blah. That was way grosser. That's how you know you're a real horror fan, is you saw necks getting mashed together. Terrifier 2's nothing." And it's just like, there's multiple trains of thought with horror. Like, you have what people now call as elevated horror. That has been a hot button. I'm tickled to death to just have slashers come back. I like everything. Give me the best of both worlds, basically.
Yeah, I can watch. I mean, we've now it's for us right now it's the spooky season, so much is coming out. I as of this recording, I haven't watched the new Halloween yet, but I will. But we've also watched the new Hellraiser. I am probably gonna have to force myself to watch the Terrifier movies, even though Charlie just hates clowns, and that's
This is true.
Yeah, honestly, normally I would have already seen these movies, but it's got a clown in it, so that automatically tells Charlie no. It's just my thing. Get off. But yeah, it's just there's so much out there. I don't know why people complain so much. Just because everyone has different tastes in movies. Let them enjoy what they want to enjoy. There are people out there that enjoy this movie for what it is. I'm sure they don't enjoy what happens in this movie, but as a movie in a whole, they enjoy this movie quite a bit. And it's fine. That's your bag, man. That's what you do. Go for it. But I'm getting tired of the elitism in a lot of things, but a lot of it in the horror movie fandoms. Being in a lot of these groups where it's like you either like this or you're not a fan, or if you do like this, you're a degenerate piece of shit.
Personality that I don't like. Just let people like stuff.
Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense.
And if someone is late to the party, at least they made it to the party.
That's right. They're here. Let's welcome them.
Yeah,
let's go.
Instead of like banishing them off. Like, nah, hey, you found it. Thank you.
We have such sights to show you. That's I'd rather be like that. When the people are like, "Tell me something good to watch," and it's so many people going, "Well, if you've never seen this, what are you here for?" It's like, "Oh, you didn't like that movie. I'm not even going." It's stupid, man.
Nate
it
doesn't
makes
like
me
Last
want
House on the Left original one, so he gets to revoke his horror card.
These guys on this podcast say they hate the Amityville Horror. It's a classic. Just because it's a classic don't make it good, people.
You want a good nap for 2 hours, put it on.
But hey, the difference is if you enjoy the hell out of that movie, then you enjoy the hell out of that movie. I'm not here to tell you not to. So, all right, this was thanks, Nate, for picking this movie.
You're welcome. Let's see what else this month has in store for us.
I'm looking at the list. I think we pick back up.
I think we get out of the darkness.
This is like emo Nate just like threw this at me, and I was not prepared, and then I had to sit through it alone. I don't know.
You got scared, had to hold your blankie close to you.
I don't get scared in these movies.
But you had a good blankie.
I start like cheering because I saw Billy Drago in the movie. The action guy got like some action in this. It was great. Now, all right, man. Well, everybody, thanks for checking us out. These are our canned episodes, but thankfully they will still be coming out once a week. So we still wanted to make sure you guys could still listen to us and hear us. So thank you for checking us out while we take our break. Holidays are screaming towards us right now. Thanksgiving will be here before you know it. And then the jolly old fat man's going to come and visit everyone but Nate.
Yep.
Because Nate picked this movie and he's going to be like, ugh, you disgusting piece of shit. So, all right. You know where to find us over on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube. As of this recording, maybe we've popped up on YouTube with some other reviews. We don't know. We're not going to speculate this far away.
No,
So
no clue. But head over
always,
to Spotify. Just click that button.
yeah, I put up little mini reels, little shorts. They'll be like the previews to the movies that we're doing. So it's fun seeing the view counts go up on that. They're 30 seconds. It's not going to take a lot of time. Yeah, and please make sure to go check out all the other shows on the Give Me Back My Podcast Network. We have Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling, Good Beer Bad Movie Night, Monster Movie Stomp Down, and let's all just enjoy this November. I'm looking forward to food. That's Thanksgiving's coming up on us.
Cannot wait for all the food.
I love fall food.
Put the IV of gravy in me.
Deviled eggs and gravy, man. I'm there for it. All right, brother. I'm not padding this episode out. Why don't you get us out of here with a good word?
97% of nationwide coverage, and we get stuck in the 3%.
Now, let's talk about how I get back home.
I got a question.
Yeah.
They have a motor running a generator at the town, right?
Yes. That's how they get divorce court.
They obviously know how to keep a motor running, and they have like a ton of cars. Why are they not out there like Mad Maxing it?
They Mad Max it to Vegas.
Yeah. I mean, even if you just wanted to stay there, you could have like little mini Thunderdome fights, and they can just go to town on each other. Like, that's what you're still going to eat the people, but let them fight it out.
Yeah, and that's the problem. They were missing a good PR person, because then what would happen would be like, look, guys, I got an idea for you. You just need to build a Thunderdome.
And you'd be like, well, Charlie, they're eventually going to run out of gas. Oh, no. They're friends with a gas station attendant.
Yeah. And I guarantee gas station attendant has a lot of gas containers.
Yep. I think they should have went the Mad Max route. That's an opportunity missed.
That's where part 2 should have gone.
Definitely. I would have enjoyed the movie a lot more for that.